Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Throwing Partners, episode 12, The Dirty Dozen. Wow, Chris, 12 episodes. Just had our 10th and our 11th.
It's dirty.
How are you doing? It's dirty. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's been a while since, I think we're coming down to the point now where it's going to be one episode a week kind of thing. We both have busy schedules, so I think one episode a week kind of like getting everybody ready for maybe the end of the week or the beginning of the week. Who knows when you watch it? I think it would be a good recap for everybody. So
yeah, even if they pick it up in the middle of the week. I know you have work and school, and then school for me, and then starting work in a couple weeks. So
starting work, got the new job, the job,
getting back in the workforce, which is fantastic.
COVID, but let's stop you, dude. COVID,
nope,
stop you.
Can't stop me. Mask up.
Alrighty.
Well, let's get into what we talked about last week was the Super Bowl, and let's give it up for my pick, Robert's pick, the Bucks, and props to Robert for calling out that Bucks defense. They showed up, and Mahomes left bruised up, and he really missed those offensive tackles. But we watched that game, Chris. It was kind of boring, honestly.
It was very boring. But I want to ask you this though. So okay, let's say the two offensive tackles for the Chiefs were not injured. They were actually starting. They were there. Do you think that's a totally different ball game?
I think it's not a blowout like it was. I think there's more of a touchdown score, to at least Mahomes running forward more than he was. But we watched that game. We saw easy passes dropped.
I saw a lot of wide receivers for Kansas City getting plucked in the head with the football. There's at least two.
Yeah, plucked in the head. Travis Kelce there was that one wide open.
He had the most receiving yards for them, though.
Right out of his hands, though. And say what you say about there's some calls that I think went Bucks way. For sure.
I definitely want to tap into that because I'm sorry. Okay, I get it that the NFL now is very ticky-tacky with pass interference calls.
Yeah.
But if a ball is not catchable, if a ball is being sailed all the way to basically where the fan stand is, that is not a catchable ball. And I'm sorry, you can't call pass interference on that. You can't do that.
Yeah, it was at least 100 feet above his head.
And that was right before the half. It was right before the half. And then guess what? Tampa Bay scored a touchdown right before the half. Yep. So there is, and Kansas City was not I'll give the refs credit though. They did call the right calls, I would say about 75% of the time. But that 25% was still very key on momentum drives. So Kansas City came out flat. I'm going to tell you that much, though. Mahomes didn't look like Mahomes. I think that injury to his toe was a big thing. And I don't know if the concussion thing was a big thing, too. But, he performed well when he came to the AFC Championship after the concussion protocol, and he was fine.
Yeah.
But I think the toe injury, now that he's having surgery, too, I think that injury definitely showed what was going on. And then also, you got Andy Reid's son, that, horrible crash that he did, and prayers go out to that little girl and their family and everything like that. I'm sorry to say this, but the dude admitted to drinking and being under the influence too of I think Adderall.
Yeah.
And
fire him.
I don't care who you are. Honestly, it's not even just fire him. You know what? He needs to go to jail.
Yeah.
He needs to go to jail. He just caused life. She's still not out of the hospital yet.
There's going to be, he gave that little girl brain damage. She's gonna have to deal with that the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
And she's young. She was 5?
She was 5. I think the other one was 6 or 7.
Yeah. So she's so young, not even the double digits yet of her age. Still a toddler technically, and just has to deal with this the rest of her life. Mm-hmm. I don't think any form of payment can change that.
No.
It sucks. And honestly, I think that was a big distraction for the Chiefs as well. But let's not throw excuses. They just played really bad.
Yeah, no, the Chiefs played very, very poorly. It was probably one of the most boring Super Bowls I've ever watched, besides the Seahawks blowing out Denver.
Or the Rams and the Patriots.
Oh my gosh, that was so bad. It was just field goals.
which props to you for field goals. The kicker
got me the second most points on my team. Second most points. Butker came in clutch for the Chiefs, so I give him credit. But
Butker kicked butt.
Everybody's been telling me you don't bet against the GOAT. I get it. I totally get it. And speaking of the GOAT, though, I do want to go into like a Twitter feed with Tom Brady and Tyrann Mathieu. So you know how like Tyrann Mathieu claimed that Tom Brady said something that was explicit, and Tyrann didn't want to exactly say what he wanted to say, but he said Brady said it to him in that altercation there on the field. And then Tom Brady apologized to him in a text after the game, after the Super Bowl was done, to Tyrann. And then all of a sudden, Tyrann forgot Tom Brady was mic'd up. And Tom Brady never said anything like that. There is no words coming out. So Tyrann made the whole thing up.
Yeah, playing the victim, I think. And we saw those altercations on the field. And you could tell that, like, Tyrann, he instigated it.
Yeah.
Like, he went up to Tom. He said something.
But that's who he
they're
is,
gonna
though.
bark. Yeah, that's who he is. He's a defensive player, and that's his personality. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna bark at Tom. Tom's gonna bark back.
I mean, usually Tom doesn't do that, though. Like, as much as he did back to Tyrann, it's usually not that much. But, Tyrann is known, how Richard Sherman's known to, trash talk. But he can back it up. Tyrann is a great player. He's a great player. So he can back it up. But in that game, for instance, it wasn't there and everything like that. So,
and Brady showed him up. Remember, he's like, I'm coming after you.
I know.
Got that touchdown.
He went after him hard. He went after him so hard. But Super Bowl, if you guys didn't watch it, you guys didn't really miss much. Don't bet against the GOAT.
Commercials were kind of weak too.
Commercials were weak, but I would say this. Okay, so I know we were both watching the Super Bowl at the same time, and we both didn't like the halftime show. The Weeknd, I'm sorry. To me, it wasn't that good. I mean, it's like right now, I feel like it's either I loved it, I didn't like it. There's no in between.
Yeah, it was in between. It wasn't like I like The Weeknd. He's a good artist.
I think he has great songs, but just the performance, I didn't.
It was the performance. It didn't have that wow factor like past shows have had.
Yeah.
Like last year, for instance, with J-Lo and Shakira, that was really great. But I know like every other year, it seems like there's always that weak.
I think you're exactly right with the every other year, because the year before that was Maroon 5 and Travis Scott. I was just like, no.
Oh, I hate Maroon 5.
But the thing is like, I want to see a performance like Prince's performance. He did Purple Rain and all that stuff. And people are saying that Weeknd had the best Super Bowl of all time, but you're not including Prince's Purple Rain. You are on something. You are on something.
While it was raining.
I don't care if you don't even like Prince's songs. Like, that performance was just amazing. And to say The Weeknd is better than Prince, no, sir. No, ma'am. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't even in my lifetime for halftime shows, I wouldn't even put The Weeknd like in the top 10.
Nothing. I don't see it too. But that's what we were talking about. It's like there's no middle. It's either you liked it or you didn't. And we're both on the didn't like it. I think there's more didn't like it than liked it. So
yeah.
But let's get away from the Super Bowl. That's in the past. Congrats to Tom Brady, the GOAT, and all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finally got their Super Bowl since 2003. But let's go into a hot topic, and it's very sensitive to me right now, and I want your take on it. Okay. So I actually informed you about this. You didn't know until I
didn't know about this. Yeah.
So Russell Wilson on the Dan Patrick Show, I can't say explicitly, but he said it, like, basically in quotes, that the offense, he's tired of getting tackled so much, which I understand. And he threw kind of like the whole O-line under the bus of Seattle. And now he's requesting more of action in the front office of the Seattle front office, the Seahawks front office, and says on trades, who they draft, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So what I want to know is, the first question is, does Russell Wilson stay in Seattle?
Yes, he does.
Okay, so he stays. Now that he's staying in Seattle, how much influence do you think he'll have on the front office?
I think they'll listen to him. I mean, I know they have that star player, and personally, I don't like when players like get a little influence on the front office. But I guess if they're the star player, you want to ask for their opinion because they're the ones in the field. Me as a Colts fan, seeing Andrew Luck get thrown around like a rag doll,
Mm-hmm.
which is why he's retired. He got injured so much because at the time he had no O-line.
Mm-hmm.
He not once would be like, "Oh, I need the front office to get me this O-line." Like,
But to go with your Andrew Luck analogy here, it's, when Andrew Luck came back from that injury, he got sacked the least amount of times in the whole NFL. So the front office knew what the problem was and
yeah.
corrected it.
And then maybe he's saying the front office doesn't even know at this point, and the problem lies deeper within Seattle's front office.
As a Seattle fan for Seahawks, everything Seattle, I will say the Seahawks are in dire need of an O-line. I totally get it. Russell Wilson's been thrown around like a rag doll. So I think that's our first priority. People will also say our defense is terrible, which I can agree to an extent, but towards the end of the season, they were actually doing a lot better. I think they were starting to figure everything out then. It was just a little too late in the season. So I would go after O-line first, like drafting or trading or free agency, something you can get, and then worry about that defense later.
I agree. I also think like with Russell, he's speaking more like he's frustrated, and I don't think it was a direct attack on the front office. And I think maybe if he had a chance, he would reword it.
Yeah.
But I think if he says in the lines like, I think like we need improvement on the offensive line instead of like, like we need it, like go get it, like you're not doing your job type of thing. Yeah. I think if he rewarded it, it would sound a lot better. But I know you were pretty furious about it, and you said get him out of Seattle. And I think that's just your frustrations right now, but you don't want Russ out of Seattle.
Okay, so I am more for get Russ out of Seattle because, one, there's been prior locker room issues with him before. So we don't know who Russell Wilson is. He does these great things off the field for charities, for hospitals and all this stuff. And, I know he truly does mean that stuff. But in the locker room, if we're just talking football, there's been issues with him with like defensive players, like Richard Sherman didn't like him. Cliff Averill didn't like him. And we don't have that insight of what's happening in the locker room and whose side to take, but this is not a first time thing of like a locker room issue kind of thing. So for him to throw the offensive line under the bus like that, I don't like that. If you're going to throw somebody under the bus, first off, you don't ever throw anybody under the bus. You talk to your players. You talk to your teammates. If you're that captain, you go talk to them personally. Hey, what can we do to work things out? If you're not seeing on the same level as me, let's find a way to mutually get there. If you don't have the mesh right, there's nothing there. So that's the thing is, I don't know how much Russell Wilson has talked to his offensive line or if he just threw him under the bus like that. But what I'm saying is get him out of Seattle already is because, one, he's owed a lot of money. He was in that first year of his extension. Two, he is still elite quarterback, top 5 easily quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Yeah. And you can get so much out of it. And you know how many teams want a quarterback right now, like of that caliber?
So many.
Half
the league wants a quarterback.
So that's the thing is like you can get so much in return and you can get a lot of money off the books. I would take it now. If this has all been boiling up for Russell a long time, if he wants out of Seattle, give it to him. He got us a Super Bowl. I applaud him for everything he's done with us. He's done everything right for us. And if this is his time to go, then let's take it so we can take everything that we can while he's healthy and still an elite quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. Get him for what he's worth right now.
Yes.
We don't want it to escalate to where it's, we see with a lot of guys that have been with one team their entire career, it gets kind of stale after a while, and maybe it's time for a change professionally and personally. We don't know that. I would hate to see him leave Seattle. He's done.
I would too.
But as a Colts fan, come over to Indy. Like
I say he goes to Vegas. I say he goes to Vegas. I think they're going to ship Derek Carr out. They're going to keep Marcus Mariota as a backup there, just in case like they don't get a good quarterback and he can start too because he looked good when he started. But I think Vegas can give up a lot of draft picks and afford the money and all this stuff and take them. And I don't see why Russ wouldn't like playing for them. They have great weapons there. They have a good run game with Josh Jacobs. Yeah. So, but the thing is like going back to what we said about players having a say in the front office. I'm sorry to say this, but players have a voice, and I agree with that 100%. And if you don't let your voice be heard, then nobody's going to know. So your frustration is just going to boil. But if you talk to people like Deshaun Watson has and Russ has supposedly now, you're getting your name out there. But to say like, hey, I want influence on the trades, all this, like the actual front office stuff.
No.
That's like saying I'm doing your job, while I'm doing a quarterback job, but I have no say in like a high profession rate of what they do.
Yeah.
So
we see that a lot with the NBA.
Yeah. So it's just like, leave it to them. But the thing is, though, I think there's a good way to go about this is like, let's say if you're the GM, right? And I'm Russell Wilson and I say, hey, Brian, I just want to let you know, I need some say in the moves that you do and everything like that. And I just come up front and I tell you what my problem is. Like, I've been beaten up out there. You got to help me out and stuff like that. And you tell me, I will help you out. I will help you out. But the thing is where it comes down to like trades, who we sign, draft picks. I will say, hey, how I would do this. I would get your feedback like, hey, how do you like this guy? How do you think that would work in our system? Would it be good? Talking with Pete Carroll as well, or other front office managers and everything like that. And if Russ says, I don't like it, but it's something we really need, like as a front office, we really need that. Like it's an offensive line, but it's not his favorite. I'm sorry. Oh well, I'm going to take that talent and we're going to make it work.
Yeah, this is my job. Like I'm going to do it.
But the thing is they're filling the roles that he also wants. So like they're drafting O-line or signing O-line. I'm sorry. I don't care that you don't like this person or not. Maybe we can be men and adult men and, get over our things. We're here. You're only on the field for what? 60 minutes.
If that, yeah.
60 minutes. So 60 minutes, one day out of the week during NFL season, put your issues aside and just work together. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. It's about open communication.
Yeah.
But like I said, a lot of teams lack communication.
Yeah. So I don't discourage players going to the front office saying, I need some say into this, because if things haven't been working out the way they want, then definitely you need to know, hey, my player is upset. He's under contract. He is my employee. Every player that plays on that field is my employee. I need to take care of my employees. That's what it is. That if you're looking at a business standpoint, and in order to take care of that employee, you got to hear the feedback from your employees.
Yeah.
And then you have to be, in the middle with everything from the employee side and the owner side. So that's my take. I know I went on a tangent there. It was a while.
No, you're passionate. It's your team. Like it's frustrating when like something like that happens to your team and the player you like and how you don't really want him to leave. But if he's going to like talk mess on your team like that, you want him out, and it sucks. But at a certain time, it gets stale. And if it's time to go, it's time to go. But it's frustrating when it's your own team and you take it personally as a fan.
Yeah.
Speaking of, fans and taking things personally and then just things happening with a poorly ran football organization, the Texans released JJ Watt today. Mm-hmm. So, and speaking of Seattle needs defense, like there's a possibility.
There's rumors of him signing there.
Crazy that they released him. I was expecting more of a Deshaun Watson decision before that.
I feel bad for him. I really do.
Yeah. Everyone seems to be trapped there. And as of right now, like DeAndre Hopkins was like the first one out. And he's like, peace later. Like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of sad to see like JJ Watt, like what he's done for Houston in his career there. And then just them doing him dirty and Deshaun Watson dirty. Like,
yeah,
man,
that ownership. They do have a new GM and a new head coach now. So hopefully things are going to get better, and they've been vocal with their players, but let's go to Deshaun Watson's case first. He's voiced the opinion of like, he wants out. He wants out. I don't blame him. That team is in shambles and it's poor ownership too. So if I was a player there, I would want out.
Yeah.
And now they're telling him, hey, we're not gonna trade you. You got so much money, and so like you signed the extension. We're not gonna trade you. So in that case, would you play?
No, and it's not even about like the team performance. It's personal matters that mean a lot to him, and just their stance against like shutting players up and just not really standing with like with black players. It's more of a personal thing, and I get why he doesn't want to play with them anymore. So it goes beyond football with him.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I would not want to play either.
Like it's a comfort level, and who cares how much money? Like he's getting from them. Like, if he personally doesn't feel comfortable there anymore because of the things they're saying and the things they don't want to do, I'd want out too. And if they don't trade him and he just sits, like, good for him. Like sit out until you get to a place where you feel comfortable at and welcomed.
And it's not like, this is the new it's kind of like the new GM's fault for not wanting to trade him. But you have to look at his standpoint too. He's brand new. Like, this isn't his fault with everything that's going on in that organization. I blame the owners hardcore. It's sad to say that JJ Watt, as much as he's done for Houston and everything like that, he has to go talk to his owners and say, I want out. And they mutually came to an agreement. But that's the thing, though, okay? I know it's JJ Watt. He's been there for a long time. He means so much to that city and everything like that. He's done his time there. Why can't Deshaun Watson do that?
Honestly, I think it's a stature thing, and I don't want to get too political or anything, but it honestly kind of checks, like, privilege at that point.
I agree. What's funny is I talked to my mom about this. So in, let's say, military, I know a lot of people out there that listen to this are in the military, and there's people that have not been in the military. But I will say this: the military has changed over time from the evolution from World War II to now. It's totally different ballgame with technology, everything like that. But the one thing you always got to do is take care of your military personnel. If you don't have foundation, like a good relationship with your military personnel, then there's no mission. If there's no mission, then there's no goal. And so basically that's the same thing with players now. It's, if you don't have a good foundation with your players, you're not going to be successful and nothing's going to go right. So you need to have a foundation in each team. And this is to the owners. The owners need to have that good foundation with players. And you know what? It's sad to say, and don't get me wrong for this. For the fans out there, Jerry Jones is actually a good owner. He is a good owner. He actually talks to his players. He's down on the field. He loves his Cowboys. I get it. And he's been there forever. And, it's sad to say it's taken this long to figure out if Dak Prescott's going to resign there or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I get it. But at least Jerry Jones was talking to Dak. He was talking to him, and then Dak had that moment where he's like, I don't want to talk to them at all. And I get that. He's frustrated, and he has every right to do that. But Jerry Jones has a relationship with his players and makes players want to play for the team, So if you don't have that, then your team's not going to perform well.
Yeah, if your players aren't happy, the product on the field's not going to be great.
No.
And I preached that, at my old job a few years ago, and it was like, if like my employees were happy, like customer satisfaction and everything, they'd be happy too. So it all starts with the employees. Happy employees, happy guests, happy players, good team, happy fans. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just in it for the money. I talk about my distress with Artie Moreno. I think he's just in it for the money for the Angels. We look at the Spanos family for the Chargers, same thing. They don't care. And that's what separates, the owner and the player personnel. Like, and that's what sucks. And that's what's going on in Houston. And it's really sad to see.
Yeah. And, positivity is contagious, but so is negativity. Negativity is contagious too. So, like how they always say, you can do all this positive stuff and one negative thing could change everything. And I think that's what's happening in Houston right now.
Domino effect. But another distressed player really, which leads us into the next trade before the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford going from Detroit to the Los Angeles Rams, them sending Goff over to Detroit. So huge trade, big boost for Los Angeles. I don't see Detroit doing well with Goff. They're going to be the same old Lions. But yeah, what do you think, Chris?
Honestly, this is going to sound weird. Matthew Stafford to me has always been underrated as a quarterback. Even with Calvin Johnson there, I think he was underrated as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And, he's been in clutch moments with Detroit, and now he's coming to a nice LA team, a well-rounded LA team. So I think he's going to do well. But the amount that LA gave up to get him, I think was a little too much with the 2 first-round picks along with Jared Goff. I mean, Matthew Stafford, don't get me wrong, he's great, but he's a little bit old for the league. He's getting up there. He's got 2 more years left on his contract, while Jared Goff's got 4, and he's still in his 20s.
He's got a lot of money coming his way too, Jared Goff.
So the 2 first-round picks that LA had to give up, I think maybe just 1 would have been okay, but 2 I think is a little much because now you're taking away from your future. Because Matthew Stafford, you don't know if he's going to re-sign there or not, and you don't know how well he's going to perform there yet. So he's got 2 more years on his contract, and you gave up 2 first-round draft picks. Future doesn't look too bright.
Yeah, I think it's more of a what can we do in the next 2 years type of thing.
Don't get me wrong. If Matthew Stafford plays well and the Rams have a season like they did last year, they can be Super Bowl contenders.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can totally see it. I can totally see it. And Jalen Ramsey has been Jalen Ramsey for that defense like he was in Jacksonville. So
Aaron Donald.
Aaron Donald just
looked player of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, they had 1 bad year last year, and then this year it all came back. So, but yeah, that's how I feel about the Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford trade.
Yeah, I was actually in a group chat with some old coworkers, and Jonathan, who was on a few weeks ago, he goes, "I hope Watt goes to the Rams." Imagine him paired with like Donald and Ramsey.
That's really scary.
Yeah,
if that happens, because those are I think they're the one of 3 each. So JJ Watt, Aaron Donald, and I think Houston. Not the team Houston, but the defensive end Houston have the most sacks in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And if you put JJ Watt with Aaron Donald as a Seattle fan, and if I'm Russell Wilson and I'm still there, I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I am I'm sorry, whatever running back we sign, or if it's Rashad Penny, I'm just handing the ball off every time.
We saw what they did in the playoffs.
Or you might as well have DK line up as an O lineman. He's big enough.
He can do it.
I think he could too. But I think that's a wrap for NFL so far.
Yeah, that was probably the most we've really talked about in NFL. It's
the off season. That's why it's the off season. Off seasons always have that, revolving like news all the time. So
yeah, still waiting on that Carson Wentz trade, but who knows?
He's going to Chicago.
Yeah, I think so too.
So, all right. So take us away to where are we going next?
We're going to baseball because the Super Bowl happened. It's over. Football's over. Baseball's turn now. We're heading into spring training.
It's still hockey and basketballs.
Still hockey and basketball. Okay. But I love baseball.
So do I.
I know we both love baseball.
I love sports.
Sports ball. Join Partners Podcast. Sports. But baseball. Wow. Spring training, pitchers and catchers report next week. There's been a signing frenzy. A lot of stuff happening. We talked about the Bauer trade last time. Or signing. We're going to discuss the rivalry kind of brewing within the Padres and the Dodgers, which is going to be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. But what do you want to transaction wise? What do you want to talk about?
Let's go to Seattle because we're talking about Seattle and Seattle. I mean, the Mariners haven't done anything this offseason really, but we did do something yesterday, signing former closer of the Blue Jays and Houston, Ken Giles, to a 2-year deal. He had Tommy John, so he's not going to be playing this year, but it's a 2-year deal so that next year they're going to have him play. Hopefully he plays. How do you feel about that?
It's a good pickup. I know a lot of teams now are kind of doing that. Well, we don't have him this year, but we'll have him next year guaranteed of him being back and healthy. We saw the Padres do that with Garrett Richards. We just saw the Dodgers do that this offseason with Tommy Kahnle. He had Tommy John. He's not going to be available until maybe late this season or earliest 2020.
I would just let him rest.
Yeah, let him rest. Knowing Seattle, who knows what the AL West, it's up for grabs at this point, I think. So they might have a chance. They were good last year in the 60 games. It's not an impact right now, but it will be, I think, when the team's really competitive in 2022.
Yeah. I think it's a good move. I mean, it's low risk, high reward too. Yeah. And we need
it wasn't that much money either.
No, and we need bullpen. That was our biggest flaw last year. I think if we had a better bullpen, actually, we probably would have had 5 or 6 more wins. I honestly think.
Yeah.
But they need to bring back Carl Edwards. He did great for us last year. I don't know why we're not bringing him back, but
he signed with another team.
Yeah,
I think I texted you.
I was
I don't
upset
remember
about
what
it.
team though.
But he needed to come back. But we still have like Johan Ramirez, and it's still a young core out there, so they're still trying to figure it out. But let's let me ask you about your team then. What do you feel about Dexter Fowler coming to the Angels?
I'm okay with it. The Angels, I think they really rushed Jo Adell last season, and we saw his struggles at the plate and in the field last year. But Fowler, he's another guy that played under Joe Madden for that Cubs World Series team in 2016. He brings a lot of personality to the clubhouse and the dugout, which I'm really excited for. He can still hit, he can still field, he can run. I think he's just that stepping stone in that outfield depth, waiting for Brandon Marsh and Jo Adell to really emerge coming up. I know they still have Upton on the books playing left. It's a lot of money you can't let sit on the bench. But I think it's a good trade. I think the Cardinals paid for the majority of his contract. He was
You guys aren't paying like $1 million?
1.75 million out of like a $15 million deal.
That's nice.
So they got a lot of, the weird thing is they have a lot of guys coming off the books after the season. There's so many free agents. They're in pretty much their entire rotation's free agent at this point.
Well, hopefully they get that figured out soon rather than later, extensions never hurt. I think because you guys have a young rotation. Besides Jose Quintana, I think it's a very young rotation, and I think extensions are needed in that rotation.
Yeah, I think I would want to, after the year Bundy had last season, re-sign Bundy, extend Andrew Heaney. Griffin Canning's going to be there. He's under team control for a long time. So they have like that core there. And I think with like Albert Pujols coming off his last season, coming this season, that's going to free up so much cap space.
What if Trevor Bauer opted out because he was waiting for Albert Pujols to leave so the Angels had more money to give him?
I don't think any pitcher who pitches once every 5 days is worth 40 mil a season.
That's a lot.
But that's too much money. That is way too much money, especially for a guy who's in that rotation like Bauer, like I said last week, maybe the number 2 or the number 3. I saw Marcus Stroman actually tweet today. He said, DeGrom's the best pitcher he's ever seen. Like
he is. He's the most consistent
in Major League Baseball. He's back-to-back Cy Youngs, and then people are like, "Oh no, like that's not true." It's like, what about when healthy Strasburg? I'm like, no Strasburg in the playoffs, yeah, but Strasburg in his career mediocre at best. I put Scherzer up there, but he's on the decline. Like Jacob DeGrom, like people go, "Oh, doesn't have run support." Who cares?
I mean, you still can put Clayton Kershaw up there too.
Yeah, he goes out there and he pitches. He's worth 40 mil, I think. He's the most valuable person on that team, on the Mets right now. And seeing a guy like Trevor Bauer, who had one outstanding season, get 40 mil over him, it's just weird to me.
Yeah, I think Noah Syndergaard right now is actually the best pitcher in baseball.
Noah?
Sorry, not Noah. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I said that. Jacob DeGrom. I'm so sorry. Wrong Mets player. Sorry.
He's good.
He is good when he's healthy, but Jacob DeGrom, no, hands down, is by far the best pitcher probably the last 5 seasons.
Yes.
Besides Clayton Kershaw, he is on the decline, but his declining numbers are not outrageous.
Because declining numbers are what like regular guys want as their regular stat line.
Exactly.
Season after season.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So Dexter Fowler to the Angels, good deal for the Angels. I agree. It's actually a really good deal. But let's go to another good one. This is a trade also. Boston traded Andrew Benintendi to KC.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
To KC, right? And Benintendi's on his last year of his contract.
He has 2 more seasons.
Oh, he has 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
But what does this tell you about Boston, though?
Boston's in a mini rebuild.
Even though they are big.
I think they're in a big market, and it's so weird to see a big market go through a rebuild like this. I don't want to say it's a full-blown rebuild, but we saw them you're the Boston Red Sox. We're going to let Mookie, we're going to trade him because we don't think we can re-sign him. It's like, you have the money.
You have the money.
Like, that's just showing you don't have faith in your product on the field or in your farm system. So you're basically saying, like, sorry, Mookie, like, we don't have the guys coming up to support you. So you're going to be, if you sign here, you're going to be on a team that sucks.
I don't think they would suck if they re-signed him. I think he actually would turn that team around. But I mean, KC gave up really good prospects to Boston. So Boston did get a good handful of prospects, like legit good prospects.
They weren't like, I mean, I wouldn't label like Franchy Cordero as.
No, nothing like that. Or Bobby Wood Jr., nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Bobby Wood Jr. is still with KC in that farm system. I don't see them giving him up.
Yeah, it's weird seeing Boston do this. You know, that core outfield from a few years ago is gone now. Jackie Bradley Jr. is still awaiting a contract from any team at this point. There's been so many teams rumored to sign him, and they're just no one's biting. So
I think the Mets take him. I think the Mets take him.
The Mets, I think, would be a really good fit. I think the Giants would be a good fit too. Who knows? Like, he's a good glove. He doesn't hit well, but his glove's really good.
Yeah. No, I think since they missed out on George Springer and Trevor Bauer, I think the Mets go after him. But yeah, Benintendi to KC, it's going to be different. KC, surprisingly, that roster is starting to get like legit, like the AL Central, they could take it. They could easily take it.
I think right now on paper,
Cleveland is
the White Sox.
I think Cleveland
too, but based on their pitching in general.
Well, Cleveland to me has like one of the best rotations.
Oh yeah, they have the best rotation without Clevenger, Bauer, or anyone. Like, my thing is, or even Carrasco.
Yeah.
And you know, they lost Lindor, they traded him, but Cleveland, they always find a way, even though they don't hit well, they just have really great starting pitching and bullpen. They, I think, are still my favorite. I think they might peter out at the end. The White Sox are there. They signed a lot of people. They traded for people.
Yeah.
The Royals really have been doing these low-key like signings, which has been nice. Like, you know, they bring in Mike Minor. They sign, I think, the first like big free agent,
Michael Taylor,
Carlos Santana. Michael A. Taylor, the big free agent.
Yeah.
They signed Carlos Santana away from Cleveland.
Yeah.
To go to like a division rival like the Royals. And they bring in Benintendi, who's kind of like their Alex Gordon replacement who just retired. Like, he's got a good glove. I think he's still a good hitter.
I think so too.
I think he'll do really well in Kansas City. And I know it's just a 2-year deal remaining for his contract, but if he has a really good season with them and they're out of a contention in July, you can see them trading him for a year and a half to another team and get like prospects back to really build up your farm system more.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good trade for Kansas City.
No, I think so too. And then also, like, Salvador Perez is healthy now.
Yeah.
So he's there, Carlos Santana. And then you got Whit Merrifield. Everybody forgets about Whit Merrifield. He's a great second baseman. Alberto Mondesi is great at shortstop. It's just like, you know, they have talent. I don't think they have the
Hunter
pitching
Dozier.
yet. Yeah, they have Hunter Dozier. They have Jorge Soler. It's just like, you know, they have the lineup. They don't have the rotation.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But let's go. Okay, let's go a little bit quicker here. I want to talk about two players that are back for the Phillies. DD and JT are both re-signed. I think DD was a 1-year or 2-year deal, and then JT was 4. How do you think that's a good move? Besides, I know JT is honestly it's the best move the Phillies have made, but do you think DD is a good move bringing him back?
Yeah, I think bringing back Gregorius was good. They needed him to come back and play short. He did really well last year in his limited time in the shortened season. But I think Philly still needs pitching, especially seeing like the Braves are still going to be there. The Nationals aren't going away, and the Mets have gotten a lot better. The NL East is going to be really fun to watch. And the Marlins, you never know about the Marlins either.
They made playoffs.
Yeah, I think Philly though needs another bullpen piece or even a starter to.
They don't
really
have Robertson
with
anymore
the other
either.
teams.
So
yeah, Robertson I think signed a minor league deal with the Brewers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and I don't know if Juan Nicasio is still there. I don't know if he's still there.
I don't know. We'll have to check, but yeah, I think they're bolstering their offense, which is great, but they really need to sign it like at least a pitcher or two.
Yeah. What do you feel about my man D Gordon going to Cincinnati, competing for that shortstop role? But they also said they said because shortstop's up for grabs right now, but they also said they were going to use him as a utility guy like they did in Seattle. How do you feel about his fit there?
It's great. I think since he isn't, I don't think going to compete. I think they haven't sold a lot this offseason with trades, but I think later in the year, like summer, we'll see them trading a lot of pieces of their offense. And even Sonny Gray for their pitching. I think it's a great deal. He's going to do really well. I think he's going to see a lot of time in the outfield as well. But he's always a threat on the bases. I know MLB The Show doesn't have his speed very high, but
that makes me so mad. Yeah. It makes me so. You mean to tell me the man that like led in stolen bases for like 4 years in a row only has a 78 speed, but they did put his base running aggression and stealing abilities in the 90s. But you mean to tell me speed 78? Really? Come on.
Yeah, it's the pitcher shouldn't beat him every time.
I'm hoping MLB The Show 21 comes out with a better statistic for him.
Yeah, if he makes the roster, hopefully.
He will. He will. He signed a major league contract. He'll make it. You know, he had health issues last year, so he's healthy now. So he had the time to heal. Let's do 2 more. So there's a trade that happened between AL West teams. Chris Davis goes to Texas for Elvis Andrus to Oakland. So Oakland filled the Marcus Semien hole there, and Chris Davis basically another Joey Gallo for Texas when healthy. So I think Andrus is a better fit for Oakland. He is highly underrated, I feel like, defensively. So
yeah, I think it was a good trade for Oakland. They got rid of Chris Davis, who really struggled his last 2 seasons there. Chris Davis does really well against Texas, so now he's on Texas. So we'll see how that goes. Andrus didn't, from what it seemed like, Texas is weird to me. He's been there so long, and they kind of do him dirty at the end. Like, they basically tell him, you're not going to play short anymore. We're going to move Connor Falefa over to short, even though he just won a Gold Glove for third base. They want Odor to play second or even third, and then they have Solak out there as well. So really, he got bumped out of a spot he's had for 10 plus seasons.
Yeah.
So him going to Oakland with kind of a fresh start, I think he'll do really well. Also, he's got Matt Chapman to his right. So I think he'll really be fine.
I totally agree. The thing is with Texas, I don't know why Odor is still starting. I would put Solak. I mean, like you said, Connor Falefa it needs to stay at third. He just won the Gold Glove there. So keep him there. I don't know why you would change that. Shortstop, leave it for Elvis Andrus. He's been great there. And then I would put Nick Solak at second over Odor because Odor never plays well.
Yeah.
He hasn't. Ever since he signed that contract, he's never been that guy. And then Ronald Guzman at first. So Odor can be that backup guy, or he could even play first.
The biggest hit Odor had for the Rangers was on Jose Bautista.
Yeah, I totally agree.
He hasn't done anything noteworthy to me to even deserve that contract or even playing time.
Yeah.
So
I don't know, but I think Oakland got a better deal out of it. So
I think so too.
But hopefully Chris Davis plays well in Texas. You never know. So let's call that a wrap on baseball. Let's jump to my business about NHL.
Okay.
Here is the headline. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Steve Stamkos of Tampa Bay Lightning out for COVID protocol. Oh my gosh. And that's it. Even though I will say this, the NHL has been getting hit pretty hard with COVID, like the staff and players and everything. Like it's almost like watching like how the NBA got hit pretty hard. And now NHL is getting hit kind of hard. So, but speaking of NBA, let's talk about this. Let's do something really quick that we were talking about earlier. Let's do our 7, 8, 9, 10 picks for each conference at the end of the season. So basically the bottom of the barrel for the playoffs. So for the West, who do you have?
7, 8, 9, 10 for the West. Ooh, the West is really good. Everyone, even the 14th seed, OKC, they are just a few games under 500, and they're in double-digit wins already. Same can't be said for the bottom seeds in the East, but the West is really competitive. It's tough. I think 7, right now 6 is San Antonio, 7's Denver, and 8 is Golden State. Personally, I think Golden State jumps up a little bit to maybe like 7 or 6.
Okay.
I'm going to leave the Spurs in there, and I'm going to leave Denver in there.
So you're saying 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you're saying 7 Golden State, 8 who?
8 San Antonio.
Okay. 9
Denver.
And 10.
I think Dallas picks it up.
So I have some similar picks. I actually think Denver actually jumps up into the top 6.
Okay.
So I have 7 Golden State, 8 San Antonio, 9 I have New Orleans. I have New Orleans can figure it out. They're not that far behind. And 10, I'm hoping for this. It'd be awesome to see Sac at 10.
Right now they are at 10 and 10. Playing 500.
You know, if that's what it takes, then they got that. I want to see Fox in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I want to see Dallas in the playoffs though too.
I think Dallas is way better than what they are right now, of course, and I think they actually make the top 6 as well. There's gonna be a team in the top 6 of the West I think falls completely out.
Yeah, I think they. Who's that though? Portland, Phoenix.
Honestly, to me, it right now for some reason I want to say Phoenix
drops.
I
think right now Memphis drops.
Memphis to me is heating up now at the right time.
But they're only 10 and 10.
And I also feel like, so with Phoenix, it's like they had that great start and now they kind of slowed down. It's not like they drastically slowed down, but I think they're going to tank kind of hard here soon. And then I feel like Memphis is going to stay in the top 6. They're playing good basketball right now. And then Portland, I think, actually creeps up to almost the 4 seed.
I don't think Phoenix, though, is really cooling off. They've won 4 straight. In the last 6, they are 5-1.
I make bold predictions, like how I always bet against the GOAT. So I'll bet against Chris Paul.
Okay.
So, even though I like Chris Paul, he was great for OKC. But let me talk about my 7, 8, 9, and 10 picks on the East, and we'll see what yours are. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
7, I have Toronto. 8, I have Atlanta. 9, I have Chicago jumping up in there.
Okay.
And 10, I have Miami.
You have Miami's in the 9 seed right now.
So I think, well, Tyler Hero just came back from COVID protocol. So I think they'll stay at that 9-10 seed.
I don't think Tyler Hero is even the difference maker. I think he just got his heyday in the playoffs and that was it.
I mean,
to me, anyways.
It came at the right time. There's sometimes those playoff guys, you need that.
They still lost though. But let's see. I think, the East is so weird. I like Charlotte.
Charlotte to me is in the top 6 though. That's the thing.
I think Charlotte can drop up to 6 or 5.
I think so too. They're playing really good basketball. And it's not just LaMelo, it's like the whole team.
It's everyone. Yeah. I think move Charlotte up to 6, Toronto 7. I'm going to keep Atlanta in there at 8.
Okay, so we have the first 2 the same. What do you have at 9?
I think 9, I'm going to go Knicks.
Ooh, you think they make it?
I think they do.
Oh, that drought's gone.
I think Miami's going to drop down to 10.
Okay, so basically you're not saying Chicago you're saying sorry. So I got Chicago at 9 and you're saying who at 9 again?
Knicks.
I think both of those teams could easily do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see with that. But speaking of basketball, also it's already been official to the league that Toronto will not return to their hometown in Toronto to play basketball this season due to COVID. That was kind of like, I wouldn't say old news because it just came out, but it's like everybody kind of knew that. But Kevin Durant's back, so that's a plus for Brooklyn. Tyler Hero's back, like I said, for Miami, and Anthony Davis is back now for LA. But I know you being a big Lakers fan, how do you feel about this injury with Anthony Davis? Are you scared? What's up?
I'm not scared because I think the Lakers are really going to play this very sensitive. I think with his Achilles strain, whatever you want to call it. He's going to come back, but I think they're going to be really careful managing his minutes and just seeing how he feels, checking him in. You can't let a guy like him go out with an Achilles injury. Like,
no, you can't.
It's a huge
after
blow.
that extension too.
I think the Lakers have enough depth, but I think if he does go down, I don't want him to, but let's just say he goes down for an extended period of time of him missing maybe 2 weeks. You go out there and you get a trade piece because I don't think. You could throw Kuzma in there. He's been doing really well this season since he got his money. Yeah. So they have the replacements and the depth for him, but there's no like one guy that can really replace AD. So it's gonna take a lot of the bench to do that.
Would you agree with me if I said if Anthony Davis gets hurt, the Lakers are not repeating a title?
They're not.
I don't think so either.
They're not repeating.
LeBron James said when he first got to LA, he wanted Anthony Davis there. And when he finally did, things happened.
Yeah.
But we've seen when Anthony Davis hasn't been there, yes, LA has been winning games still, but they're way too close to teams.
But it's taking 35-year-old LeBron to really go full Superman.
And then you're going to waste his minutes are going to be up and he's going to get exhausted. Yeah. So I also like Caruso. He's very versatile on the court. So
everyone likes Caruso.
It's not just because like he's bald or anything.
The bald eagle.
He plays hard. He plays very passionate basketball.
Yeah, he really changes the overall tempo of the court when he's on it.
Yeah.
Like put him in there when the team's kind of slowing down a little bit. He pumps him up. That's why he got the start in the clinching game in the finals last season. Mm-hmm. So he knows what he brings on the court, and he can score those points. He knows how to be the playmaker, and he can dunk, which is really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. So when you were talking about Kyle Kuzma heating up, I really like Kyle Kuzma. I always root for him because a lot of people are so against him of how many shots he takes. He doesn't play defense or anything like that. And I get it. He does not play defense. This year, he is actually kind of tweaking it a little bit. But, he's actually putting balls in the basket and everything like that this year, and everything's going pretty well. So if I'm the Lakers, I would keep Kyle Kuzma as much as I can because,
they have him for like 4 more years.
Yeah, they got him for a low draft pick too. So it's just like they have him for a long time. But my thing is like people are always against Kyle Kuzma. And you know what? I get it. He doesn't play 2 sides of the court. It's always just shoot, shoot, shoot. But to me, Kyle Kuzma is definitely, at least a top 30 player in the league.
Yeah, he's really good. I've always liked Kuzma since they drafted him. He has had his last few seasons of like there's games where he's really great and you're like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And the next game it's like, wow, you're 1 for 15 from the field. Like what the heck? I think this season though, I would have to disagree a little bit. He's really jumped on like his overall game performance. He's shooting, but he's also grabbing those rebounds. Offensively and defensively. I think his defense has really picked up this season, and I'm really glad it's shaping. I know I follow him on social media, and he never took a break from them winning last fall.
Yeah.
He's been practicing every day since, and I think that's really shown this season.
It's crazy. If you actually look at the Lakers roster and like their stats this year, all the players' rebounds per game has gone up. Every single player. It's kind of crazy, but it's also like that's a thing that is very underrated in basketball is rebounds per game because it's a whole new possession after that. And so also Kyle Kuzma's assists have gone up too this year. Yeah. So he's getting good looks.
He's getting good looks. Like I know his last game against OKC, 15 points, 9 rebounds. 8 of those 9 rebounds were defensive rebounds, which is great. He's getting in there. He's grabbing the ball, and it's creating that opportunity for his teammates to get down there and score. He shot 50% that night. Like he's overall, when he gets his looks, like he looks really good. Yeah. So I'm really glad they re-signed him. He's fun to watch, and I think he's a great team player.
Yeah. But I think with that, we're going to wrap things up here for not only NBA, but also for the podcast of the Dirty Dozen episode.
The Dirty Dozen.
Dirty Dozen. But with that, I'll let Brian take it away first for his goodbyes.
Goodbye. I'm just kidding. Like, subscribe, follow Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think our biggest following is on YouTube. So if you want to see us visually, go there. Spotify. listen on there. Listen to the whole thing. If you don't like sports, just support us any way you can. We get a lot of listeners on there. Apple, do whatever you want. I don't see the stats on that. Leave us a review, leave us the stars, whatever. Give us topics to talk about. If you want us to talk about like NASCAR or something else that's fun, let us know.
Or
slide into our DMs, or food. Because I don't know what a snack and meal is.
You don't.
If you listen to our top 10 episode,
you don't.
So I just like to eat.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, just thanks for listening, and throwing over to my partner.
With that, I'm just going to add, be nice to one another. It is a crazy world out there still. So be nice, be kind. We all care about each other. There's in all evil, there's always some sort of bright, shining goodness in everybody. So try to find it in everybody. But with that, like Brian said, like, share, subscribe, listen, do all that jazz. Send us comments. We love to hear comments. We love to hear feedback from you guys. We do this for you guys. We also do it for us. This is like a passion for us. Sports is a passion.
Yep.
But also it's a passion for you guys too. And maybe there's a passion we haven't talked about. So tell us what you want. Tell us what you want to hear, and we'll do our best. And you know what? If it's not right, then you send us more feedback, and then we're learning. And it just becomes a great cycle of just building knowledge. But with that,
we want to increase knowledge, build our brains.
Exactly. Bill Nye, the science guy. But with but with that, we'll hope to see you next time. Like we said, we're probably going down to 1 episode a week, so probably stay tuned for next weekend. But that gives you plenty of time to let us know what you want us to talk about. So hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the play button, do it all. And we'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye.